Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Recently I've been looking for a better way to rig a mouth. I need a better system to handle the profile mouth. So I looked for a bunch of tutorials online and I think I finally found a good solution. If you look at the bottom of the screen, that's kind of what the finished product is going to look like. We have the mouth cutting the face, we have the back of the mouth showing. It looks really nice. So let's jump into Toon Boom and see how we build this. What we currently have is one node with just drawing substitutions. The teeth, the tongue, they're not separate parts. For the profile view, we also have just a drawing substitution, and if we look, it's kind of just an overlay, so it doesn't look very good. We can still see the head, the lines are a little distorted, and it doesn't look very nice. What we're going to do today is make a node system that kind of works for the front view and the profile view. First thing we're going to do is create separate layers for the lips, the teeth, and the tongue. It's going to still be on one drawing node, so we can change drawing substitutions, but now we're going to be able to move these pieces separately. Let's create a drawing, call it mouth, get in, and I'm just going to use the same peg as I had before. So we're going to create a new drawing node, and we're going to trace our first mouth shape like this. In our drawing substitutions, we have a mouth, and we're going to rename it. So in the camera view, Control D, and we're going to go front, happy, 001. So if we click off and click back on, it's changed the name of our drawing substitution. That's important. It's going to keep us organized. So we're going to duplicate this, rename it, front, happy, 002, and now we can work on the open mouth. So now we have to pay attention to what layer we're drawing on, because I want the lips to be on the line art layer, I want my tongue to be on the underlay layer, and I want my teeth to be on the overlay layer. Let's start drawing the lips. We're on the line art layer. We're just going to draw the outside like this. And I'm using these sliders to kind of push my lines into the proper place. Now on the underlay layer, we're going to draw the tongue. And even though it's cut off, we're going to draw it like a circle. We're going to fill in the color on the same underlay layer. And now let's move on to the teeth on the overlay. Same thing, I'm going to draw right through. Just like our tongue, we're going to fill in the teeth on the overlay layer. The last thing, our lips, we need to fill in the inside of the mouth. And we don't want it on the same layer like our tongue and our teeth. We're going to go create line art from color art and draw the inside of the mouth on the color art layer. Now we have a huge mess, but we're on the right track. Everything is separated into its own art layer. Overlay, line art, color art, and underlay. We have our art separated, but we still can't manipulate these pieces separately just yet. Fix that. All we need to do is copy this node 1, 2, 3 times. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. We have one for our teeth, we have one for our tongue, and we have one for our lips and the back of the mouth. We're going to plug those in, and we're going to give them their own pegs. What we just did is we created 3 exact clones of all this. So if we move this, right, we have an exact copy of the mouth 3 times. And if we change a drawing substitution, they all change. And that is super important. I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey Fabio, we still can't manipulate the teeth and the tongue separately. And you're right. What we need to do is we need to tell Toon Boom what layer should be active for each of these nodes. So for the first one, let's make this our teeth node. So we need our overlay, because that's where we drew our teeth. So in our node library, we'll go overlay, grab that, and we'll insert it right here. Nice. For our tongue node, that was on our underlay. So we'll grab an underlay layer, insert it with Alt. There we go. Now we have our tongue. And now for the mouth, this was on our line art and our color art layer. So now we need both of those. We got line art, and we have color art. There you go. So now if we plug in these, get rid of that, we should be able to move the teeth separately, the tongue separately, and the mouth separately. The beauty of this is if we change a drawing substitution, they all still change because they're technically still just one node. This is kind of the easy part. Just like a regular mouth, we're going to cut the teeth and the tongue with the outer shape. So first thing we need to do is create a comp with Control H and plug our teeth and tongue into that, and then plug it back in. Now we can take a cutter, insert it under that comp, and cut it with the color art, just like that. We're going to invert it, and now we need to take our line art and move it in front of everything. We have the teeth and tongue that fit inside the mouth, and we can still move them around individually. But for us, we want this to also work in the profile view as well, which means we need to find a way for this mouth to cut the face to kind of make it look like it's turned to the side. We're going to be using mostly the line art and color art for the lips, and usually we could just cut them both at the same time, but for this I'm going to cut them separately because there's a few details that we need to address. So I'm going to grab my cutter. Let's cut the line art first, just like this. So I want, just like an eye, I guess, the skull to cut the mouth. Let's invert it. So now we drag it off to the side. You'll see that the line art cuts off at the head, which is good. Now we're going to do the same thing for the color art with a few differences. For this to work, I need Toon Boom to know what to do when there's different colors for the mouth fill. We're going to have two different colors because we're going to have two drawing substitutions. I'm going to make another one. See? And we're going to rename it Control D. We'll say Profile Happy 002 to match it up. So that's going to be our profile mouth. And for our profile mouth, we're going to have the cutter color instead of our inside mouth color. So now we got to tell Toon Boom what to do when these two different mouths are there. So I'm going to insert a cutter here. And I'm also going to insert a color override to basically say, in this color, when the inside mouth color is selected, I'm going to render selected colors only. When that happens, the skull is going to cut the inside color. We need to invert it, just like that. So now we have the mouth kind of going right to the edge of the face, which is good. About our profile mouth, so now we need another color override. I can just copy these. But this time, instead of rendering our inside mouth color, we're going to render that green cutter color. So when that happens, I want the mouth to cut the skull the opposite way. So we'll take it, we'll drag it in, like that. So now if we switch drawing substitutions, see how it cuts the whole face and we can see the back of the hair. That's what we want because that really looks like a profile mouth. So depending on the style of your show, this could work. All we need to do is draw the other drawing substitutions and they would cut the mouth like this and we would have our two different mouths. We could take this one step further. Let's try and draw the back of the mouth. So it looks like there's a back piece here from the line art layer. And just like we had two different colors for our inside mouth, we're going to create another color for our line art. So we're going to call this line side. And for demonstration purposes, I'll make it blue so we can see. So on the line art layer, let's draw the back part of the mouth like this. And then we can fill it with the inside mouth color. So problem, right? We have the inside mouth, but this, the line is showing in front of the teeth and the tongue. I don't want that. So let's use our color overrides again. So for this, we're going to say when the line art is this color, the regular color, it'll just act normally. And then we're going to get another color override with the line art again and plug it in behind everything this time. So now we can say when our line art color is this new color, we're going to render selected colors only. It should appear behind. See that? So now we can go in, cut these pieces, and we can change the color of this to black. Rearrange these pieces. It kind of looks like there's a back part to the mouth. So all we need to do now is create the other drawing swaps, the other drawing substitutions, but our node system is set up. So I'll do an example of how to draw a new drawing swap. Pretty simple. All you have to remember is make sure we're working on the correct layers. So I'm on the lips layer here. We're going to create a new drawing swap. I'm going to duplicate it. And then I'm going to rename this front happy 003. We have it right here, and I'm just going to move it into my guided position. I'm just using my previous drawings that I did for this rig as a guide. So line art layer, we're going to move the lips down. I'll use my contour editor and kind of just match this position, just like that. We'll go color art layer, color our inside mouth color. Underlay, we're going to move the tongue down. I'll move the drawing down, and then I can move it with the peg as well. So for our profile mouth, we're going to duplicate this drawing. We're going to rename it profile happy 003. And now we can match just like we did with our previous one. So line art, contour editor, we're going to move the line art down. Color art, we're going to add the color art, inside mouth, cutter, there we go. Underlay, we're going to move the tongue down. Now we have two mouths. Right, the teeth are moving over, perfect. And that's the process, guys. I'm going to go through and do that for all of the happy mouths. You're going to have to watch this, it's boring, so we'll jump back when it's done. If we wanted to really finish this, we would have to do neutral mouths, sad mouths, and maybe even a quarter front mouth. If we take a look, we can scrub through. It's looking pretty good. I can manipulate the pieces of the mouth separately, and then if we go to the profile view, we can see our mouth shapes look a lot better than what we had before. We can see the back, it's cutting the face, instead of just an overlay where we can see the head underneath. Even these, I can kind of manipulate the individual pieces to customize these mouths even more when I need to work with the lip sync. That's it, guys. I'm happy with that. I kind of like that system for building a profile mouth. It's not too complicated, but you do have to be careful which layers you draw on and which layers manipulate what. I'll link in the description the original tutorial I followed because it was also very useful. He went into a lot of depth in real time. So that's it for now. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see everybody in the next video. Mr. Maarrloooooo, do you want your crazy bones? Why do you always hate me?